All right, this is going to be about prayer and how prayer works. And uh, I'm going to tell a story, and I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. I lived in Hawaii in 1985. I lived on Eba Beach with three other guys. A guy named Rick, and Fred, and one other guy, Hawaiian guy. And we lived on Eba Beach in a beach house. And I did furniture building out of Koa lumber. And through Fred, I learned how to snorkel and scuba dive. And so he and I would go out, and we would snorkel around Waianae and Nanakuli, North Shore. We would snorkel all of those different places, and we would snorkel Kaneohe Bay and out at the point in Kailua, Makupu Beach, and a lot of different places like that. Was not so touristy, and we would make a little bit of a little bit of change like that. You make a little bit of living. There in Hawaii, we sell it to a fish distributor, but. A guy named Rick Ramsbottom owned the fish distributor. He owned the business there. He was like a 60% owner or something like that. But he sold out, and he set up shop. He set up a business in Mexico. And since I could speak some Spanish, and he spoke Spanish, he offered me a job. So I went down to Mexico and worked for him. And we stayed down there 3 weeks, and I caught African reds and wrasses and green moray eels, small little invertebrates, anything that was selling. Large African reds was selling for $20 a piece. This is back in '85. They're probably selling for $50 to $100 a piece now. He would catch these little small purple starfish, about the size of a silver dollar. And back then, 35 years ago, they would sell for $100 a piece. No telling what they're going for now. 500. I have to guess. So what happened was we got back to LA. We sold our goods at Rodeo Drive. We stored them before we went to Rodeo Drive, and we stored them. We stored them at SeaWorld down in San Diego. And every time we had an order, we would go pick up whatever fish that tropical fish stores would want, and we would take them by, and we would haggle and deal, and just kind of like get the most money we can out of what we had. Make good money. Back then, 1 month could bring in $20,000. Of fish, $20,000 to $30,000, and we made good money. We flew up to LA, and while after we sold a lot of our fish at Rodeo Drive, I went home. Home was staying. I was renting a room at this friend's house. A guy named Tim. I forgot his last name. And so I was watching U.S. Open. I was watching Yvonne Lendl and John McEnroe. And I was pulling for John McEnroe because I like tennis. I love tennis. I love to watch tennis. It's just all tennis. Male, female, old, young, whatever. It could be any tennis. I love tennis. I can't play tennis worth a hoot, but I love tennis. But anyway, I was sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, this feeling like hit me in the chest. It said, "Call your mom," or no, it said, "Call home." So I didn't think anything about it. I went ahead and asked Tim. I said, "Hey, can I use your phone? Collect phone calls?" "Sure." Collect phone call. One thing led to another, and I called my dad, and my dad was crying on the phone, and he's talking about his mom didn't know anyone. I was flabbergasted. What do you mean she doesn't know anyone? Well, she didn't know him. She started crying for a World War II combat veteran. That was tough. Anyway, to understand how he was crying. Anyway, I told him I was called Dorita, my sister. I talked to Rita, my sister, and my sister said, I called everybody in California. And I called, I had a paper, a brochure that you were hooked up with the Full Gospel Businessman Fellowship. And they wanted, and I called them, and they said they were having chapel in 30 minutes. And they would call and ask, they would call they would pray that God hit me, give me the feeling that I should call home. And 30 minutes later, I was sitting on that couch. Hit me like a ton of bricks. Called home. My mama had died. She was laid in a coma. She didn't know anybody. I wound up pulling the plug on her because there was no brain activity. That was the death of my mama. She was 56. And I loved my mama. I worshiped my mama. I loved her. I honored her. She was a sweet mother. She was the best mother that anybody could have. But it shows you what prayer can do. Prayer, if you put prayer to work, if you pray and you put prayer to work, you can move mountains. You know, faith to the size of a mustard seed will move any mountain that you have. It will move anything. So this is my share. I'm sharing this as to uplift someone, to try to help someone see that prayer is essential for a born-again Christian. It is essential. You cannot have a relationship with Jesus Christ and not have a prayer life. I hope this helps someone.